Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the June 14th meeting of the Comox Valley Sewage Commission. I'm pleased to welcome everyone here in the Regional District Chambers, including Director Arbor, who is now sitting at the table as a guest. Welcome. Directors Morin, Swift, and Grant. And online, we have Director Cole Hamilton. We have Director McGowan, and we have Captain Aumont sitting in for Major Stevens. Welcome, Captain Aumont. I would like to acknowledge that we're meeting on the unceded territory of the Comox First Nation, the traditional keepers of this land. And we will start with the management report dated June 22nd. A motion for receipt, please. Move Swift, seconded Morin. Any questions, comments? Hearing none. All those in favor? Any opposed? Carried unanimously. And we'll move on to reports. Comox Valley Sewage Management Advisory Committee minutes from May 31st for receipt, please. Moved Grant, seconded Swift. Any comments, questions, or otherwise? Seeing any, Director Cole Hamilton.
Thank you. Thank you. Well spotted, Chair. I should have raised my hand using the button. I was just curious, there was a reference to some steps forward in terms of potentially locating a spot for the sandy dump. I was wondering if there was any progress that could be discussed publicly at this point in terms of locations, and whether this is with an eye to a sort of 2023 operations.
Thanks for that, and over to staff.
Thank you very much, Chair, and for the question, Commissioner. And I'll refer to Chris LaRose to provide a response.
Thanks, Russell, and through the Chair, good afternoon, everyone. So yes, staff continue to work hard on trying to resolve this gap in the community for sandy dump servicing. So we have zeroed in on a specific location. And we're working through the due diligence, including consultation with some key stakeholders before we're able to share that specific location. So we're quite hopeful about that location, and I also understand one of the directors has provided a potential lead on a potential private solution. So we'll be assessing both of those and hope to provide more detail at a subsequent meeting. So at this point, given that we are the beginning of the summer is now upon us, clearly a solution for 2022 is not on the table, but certainly 2023 is very much our target.
Okay, thanks, Chris. That's encouraging news. Look forward to hearing the report back. Thank you.
Thanks for the question and the response. And I should acknowledge that there are a number of regional district staff members in the room, and just appreciate all of your presence and your service today. And is there anyone opposed to receipt of the Management Advisory Committee report? Seeing and hearing none, that is carried. And we now have the Sewer Extension South Liquid Waste Management Plan Addendum proposal. And we have a motion for receipt. Moved by Grant, seconded by Morin, that the report dated June 9th regarding a proposal to further develop the Sewer Extension South project via an addendum to the Comox Valley Sewerage Service Liquid Waste Management Plan be received, and over to staff.
Thank you very much, Chair and Commissioners, and Derry Monteith, Manager of Liquid Waste Planning for the electoral areas, is here to present the report, and she's supported by Chris LaRose that can provide some background as well, but I'll hand it over to Derry.
Thank you, Russell. Through the Chair, good afternoon, everyone. As you are aware, advancing collaborative sewer servicing for the South region is a key initiative of the CVRD, and there are a number of converging factors that support the need for sustained and timely efforts to advance this project. These include an urgent need to mitigate impacts to Bain Sound and protect public and environmental health in our communities, advancing reconciliation with Comox First Nation. As you know, this is a very important project for Comox, and potential for grant funding through our current application under the Investing in Canada Infrastructure Program to help mitigate project cost impacts to existing property owners in electoral area A. CVRD staff had given initial consideration to an October referendum for the project, in large part to ensure alignment with grant program timelines. However, it's been determined that more time is really needed before this date to advance the project. More recent discussions with grant program staff have identified that timelines for public support for the project may be adjusted while still including this potential for senior government funding. So given these factors, at its May 9th meeting, the Electoral Area Services Committee decided not to pursue an October referendum and directed staff to continue discussions with the province on alternate options for public engagement and approvals for the project. Recent guidance from the Ministry of Environment and Climate Change Strategy suggests that including consideration of south servicing within the existing Comox Valley Sewage Service Liquid Waste Management Plan would support a more holistic planning process. And there's a letter from the ministry attached as Appendix A to the staff report today. This would also provide the CVRD with the authority to move forward with the project and would qualify for public assent for grant funding for bylaw development and local area borrowing. As you know, the final Comox Valley Sewage Service Stage 1 and 2 LWMP report is in development for submission to the province this summer, and the provincial review process is anticipated to take approximately 1 year. This timing would allow for the development of a sewer extension south addendum to the LWMP while the stage 1 and 2 report is being reviewed, resulting in no substantive delays to the current process. Once approved, the south addendum would then be included in the CVSS stage 3 liquid waste management planning report, targeted for submission to the province in 2024. Discussion with ministry staff have really indicated a high degree of support for consideration of a south addendum within the anticipated timelines for the CVSS LWMP. So we've included a task list and a schedule attached to the staff report as well, which lays out the proposed addendum process. And this schedule shows the process being initiated this summer with a stage 2 south addendum report being targeted for submission to the province in October 2023. The addendum process is proposed to be run through a newly established South PAC and TAC committees, with the Electoral Area Services Committee acting as the steering committee for the addendum process only. So the Sewage Commission would remain the steering committee for the overall LWMP process. To facilitate the integration of the addendum into the overall LWMP process, it's proposed that the chair of the Sewage Commission be appointed to the South Addendum Steering Committee and that the Electoral Area A Director be appointed to the CVSS LWMP Steering Committee for matters pertaining to the South Addendum. With that, I thank you for consideration of this proposal, and myself and Chris are available for any questions.
Thanks very much. Very clear and good reports. Are there any questions or comments from directors, whether online or in the room? Maybe I'll just ask you to once again outline the time frame and what sort of an impact this process will have on the time frame versus had we gone the other way.
Certainly, yeah. Yeah, okay. Yeah, so we would initiate the addendum process kind of this summer, recruiting both PAC and TAC members with kind of kickoff meetings proposed for the fall, and then development of the report, the addendum through that next year with submission to the province in October. And then around that same time, when provincial review of the stage 1 and 2 LWMP report is kind of wrapping up, both of the processes would merge and then proceed with the development of the stage 3 report for submission to the province, which I believe is targeted for 2024 at this point.
Okay, and there was a reference in the report to how the costs would be covered, but I don't believe there was any indication of what the costs might be. Do you have a ballpark on the cost of such a process?
Yeah, thank you, Chair. So CBRD staff are still working to develop an overall budget for the process, and we're going to be presenting that to EASC later in a couple months.
Great. And it's my understanding that the level of engagement with the general public through this process effectively negates the need for a referendum, that the province has this process set up as an alternative. And I believe staff see it as a more desirable path for us to take for a number of reasons. It looks like there are no questions from Director. Oh, okay, we do have Director Swift.
Thanks very much. Having been involved in the liquid waste management planning sessions for our conveyance project, it has extended over a lot longer time frame than we anticipated. And if that were to occur with this one, would that change the idea of attaching an addendum, or would it stop ours from going forward to the province?
I think I can respond to that, Mr. Chair. And that is, this process will not have the same amount of steps as the Comox Valley, because much of the work has been done. Having said that, things can be unpredictable. There could be delays, but throughout the process, we are bound to report back to the commission and inform them as to how progress is being made, as well as to the pardon me, Derry, what is the term for the electoral area directors that sit or review the committee? It's
steering committee. The
steering committee. So both the steering committee of the commission and the EA directors will be informed of progress, so that consideration can be given to any ulterior plans or otherwise if there are any delays.
Thank you, CAO. And Director Arbor, I was hoping you might have a comment given how key this is to your area, so we'll give you the mic.
Yeah, thanks. I guess I'll just speak to Dr. Swift's comment first. I mean, to staff, maybe a question to staff is, could there be an exit ramp for the process if there were real problems in the south, so that we don't delay the overall? So because I think there's still, as you said, a risk, but could it be a clear kind of exit strategy if for some reason the pack and tack and the process down south encountered some significant obstacles along the journey? Because I would hate for that to delay the broader waste management plan.
Can I describe it to you now? No, but in the event that there are hiccups or delays or otherwise, we will certainly put our mind to what the issues are, how there may be resolution to them, the implication of them, and if there was to be a split in terms of the interests of the commission and the electoral area plan, we will certainly provide that advice to both bodies so that they're aware of it. It's, nobody foresaw the delays that were part of the original solid waste management plan. Having said that, those delays that we experienced there, I don't see as an issue for us in this plan, but these plans are fluid. It is involving a great deal of technical and public input, and certainly that can bring forward issues that need to be addressed and resolved, as opposed to be glossed over in the essence of a time frame.
Thanks for that. And if I may continue, so yeah, that's good to know. And there's a couple of things I could see, like not all the neighborhoods are included, and maybe so we had a report at ESC that was presented, and it had a little bit more detail around the composition of the pack. And so having a couple of people from each community, and so there's a bit of a nice framework. The advantage of which is, I think, is going to really empower the community, as is the intent of a LWMP process, to kind of take some ownership and around the outcome of the plan. But yeah, I could see. I expect it will be good, because there's a good 15 years, 20 years of history around discussing this project. I know in the communities, people really feel that the concept that we now have, rather than going under Bain Sound or otherwise to have to build our own treatment plant, I think people believe this is the right concept, but I would never underestimate the chance of little things to pose challenge. So hopefully we'll be able to work through it. And I myself, I was very impressed with both the ESC report and the report today. I think staff have done a good job, and I like that the chair would be part of this as well from the Sewage Commission. So that's my comments. Thank you.
Thank you for that. I will ask one final question. Once this decision is made, what's our initial plan for informing the community that they don't have to worry about a referendum this fall and have an alternative process in place?
Certainly, I can take that. So we are planning to send out a letter to the community at the end of this month that will both include an update on the process, but also an invitation to those interested to potentially put in their name to join the Public Advisory Committee.
Thanks very much. Any further comments from anyone?
Just to say that yeah, those letters are going directly to every resident and property owner within the community, and there is a fulsome engagement. We've done it previously to inform them of where we are in the process, and we get immediate contact questions or otherwise. The community really is engaged on this project, and I think it's really positive to provide that opportunity of a direct invitation to become a part of this process as members of the PAC. So we're really looking forward to this process and engaging further with the community.
That's great. Thanks very much. All right. With no further comments coming forward, we will vote on receipt. Is there anyone opposed to receipt? Seeing and hearing none, that's carried, and we do have a recommendation. Moved by Grant, seconded by Swift. I'm going to read it, that the Sewage Commission support the development of the Sewer Extension South project via an addendum to the Comox Valley Sewerage Service Liquid Waste Management Plan, and further that the Sewer Extension South Addendum Joint Public and Technical Advisory Committee, once convened, be requested to appoint a member of the Comox Valley Sewerage Service Liquid Waste Management Plan Joint Technical and Public Advisory Committees, and finally that the Electoral Area A Director be appointed to the Comox Valley Sewerage Service Liquid Waste Management Plan Steering Committee, Comox Valley Sewage Commission, for matters pertaining to the Sewer Extension South Addendum. And with that, is there anyone opposed to that recommendation? I see we have a accord all around. The motion is passed. And I don't believe we have any other business. I would just like to acknowledge that Mr. Dyson and Chris LaRose have been attending meetings of both Comox and Courtney Council. The Comox session I watched on television, riveting that it was, and was personally present in this chamber last night for the Courtney session. And I'd like to thank both of them for the work involved in informing our respective councils. And with that, we'll take a motion for termination. Moved by Swift, seconded Grant. All in favor? Any opposed? Carried. Thanks very much, everyone online and here in the chambers. Thanks to staff. The meeting is adjourned.